Welcome to Travelholic channel. Today we're going to talk about 30 interesting facts about France. From having the world's oldest ever living human to being the world's most visited country, let's talk about the most interesting facts about France. Moving to France, here are some interesting French facts to prepare you for life in France, or if you are already living in France, test how well you know the French. Let's start with 30 interesting facts about France. Number 1. France is the world's most popular tourist destination. Some 83.7 million visitors arrived in France, according to the World Tourism Organization report published in 2014, making it the world's most visited country. Number 2. France is the largest country in the European Union and known as the Hexagon. With an area of 551,000 square kilometers, it's almost a fifth of the European Union's total area. And due to its six-sided shape, France is sometimes referred to as El Hexagon. About a quarter is covered by forest. Only Sweden and Finland have more. Number 3. Louis XIX was the King of France for just 20 minutes, the shortest ever reign. He ascended to the French throne in July 1830. After his father Charles X abdicated himself 20 minutes later in favor of his nephew, the Duke of Bordeaux. He shared this record with Crown Prince Louis Philippe, who technically became King of Portugal after his father was assassinated, but died from a wound 20 minutes later. Number 4. Liberté, égalité, fraternité, meaning liberty, equality, and fraternity, or brotherhood, is the national motto of France. It first appeared around the time of the Revolution and was written into the constitutions of 1946 and 1958. Today you'll see it on coins, postage stamps, and government logos, often alongside Marianne, who symbolizes the triumph of the Republic. The legal system in France is still largely based on the principles set down in Napoleon Bonaparte's Code Civil after the Revolution. Number 5. The French army was the first to use camouflage in 1915. World War I. The word camouflage came from the French verb to make up for the stage. Guns and vehicles were painted by artists called camoufleurs. Number 6. In France, you can marry a dead person. Under French law, in exceptional cases, you can marry posthumously, as long as you can also prove that the deceased had the intention of marrying while alive, and you receive permission from the French president. The most recent approved case was in 2017, when the partner of a gay policeman gunned down on Paris' Champs-Élysées by a jihadist was granted permission to marry his partner posthumously. Number 7. The French have produced a number of world-renowned inventions. The father of canning, confectioner Nicolas Appert came up with the idea to use sealed glass jars placed in boiling water to preserve food in 1809. The later use of tin cans was the idea of another Frenchman, Pierre Durand. The reading and writing system for the blind, Braille, was developed by Louis Braille, who was blinded as a child. Physician René Laennec invented the stethoscope at a hospital in Paris in 1860, first discovered by rolling up paper into a tube. Alexander Ferdinand Godefroy patented first world's hairdryer in 1888. The Montgolfier brothers, Joseph and Etienne, became pioneers of hot air flight after the world's first public display of hot air balloon in 1783. A less-known fact is that the popular game Etch-a-Sketch was invented in 1950s after French electrical technician André Casagnes peeled a translucent transfer from a light switch plate and discovered his pencil marks remained on its underside, a result of the electrostatically charged metallic powder. Number 8. France was the first country in the world to ban supermarkets from throwing away or destroying unsold food. Since February 2016, shops must donate wastage to food banks or charities. Number 9. About 1 million French people living near the border with Italy speak Italian. Although French is the official language and the first language of 88% of the population, there are various indigenous regional dialects and languages, such as Alsatian, Basque, Breton, Catalan, Occitan, and Flemish. On a larger scale, French is the second most spoken mother tongue in Europe, after German and before English, and is predicted to become number 1 by 2025 due to the country's high birth rate. Number 10. the Académie Française has aimed to preserve the French language since 1634. They are attempting to ban somewhat unsuccessfully foreign words such as blog, hashtag, parking, email, and weekend. It was started by a small group of French intellects and officially recognized by Louis XIII in 1635. Number 11. At least 40% of the music on private radio stations must be of French origin. Since 1996, the country's top media regulator, CSA, has been charged with enforcing this French law. The CSA also requires half of the French music quota to be less than 6 months old. Number 12. The first public screening of a movie was by French brothers Auguste and Louis Lumière on 28 December 1895. They used their invention, the cinematography, hence cinema, to show 10 films of about 50 seconds each at the Salon Indien du Grand Café in Paris. They made many more films but predicted that cinema is an invention without any future. Number 13. A French woman is the world's oldest ever human. She lived to an incredible 122 years and 164 days, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. Jean-Louis Clement was born on 21st February 1875 and died on 1st August 1997. She lived through the opening of Eiffel Tower, the 2 world wars, and the development of television, the modern motor car, and airplanes. Her compatriots generally live longer than most other nationalities. France is rated 6 in the OECD for life expectancy at birth at 82 years, 85 years for women and 79 for men. Number 14. France legalized same-sex marriage in 2013. When President François Hollande signed the bill into law on 18th May 2013, France became the 9th country in Europe and 14th in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. Although polls at the same time showed that around 50% of French people supported gay marriage, not everyone was happy about it. Thousands of people defending the so-called family values took to the streets in a protest. Number 15. Europe's highest mountain is in the French Alps. Mont Blanc, at 4,810 meters, takes an arduous 10 to 12 hours to climb to the summit. Alternatively, you can take a leisurely 20-minute trip up on Europe's highest cable car on the nearby Aiguille de Midi to get a brilliant view of Mont Blanc. Number 16. The Louvre Museum in Paris was the most visited museum in the world in 2014. With an amazing 9.3 million visitors, it received almost the same amount of people as the population of Sweden. Number 17. The world's first artificial heart transplant and face transplant both took place in France. The heart transplant occurred in December 2013 at the Georges Pompidou Hospital in Paris. The bioprosthetic device, which mimics a real heart's contractions, is powered by external lithium battery and is about 3 times the weight of a real organ. French surgeons were also the first to perform a face transplant in 2005. Number 18. Totaling around 29,000 kilometers, the French rail network is the second largest in Europe, after Germany, and the 9th biggest in the world. France was one of the world's first countries to utilize high-speed technology, introducing the TGV high-speed rail in 1981. The Tours Bordeaux high-speed project, due for completion in 2017, will add a further 302 kilometers to the extinct 1,550 kilometers. Not so forward-thinking, however, was when the French national train operator SNCF ordered 2,000 trains at a cost of 15 billion euros, only to discover in 2014 they were too wide for many regular platforms. Number 19. Paris Gare du Nord is Europe's busiest railway station, and by far with some 190 million passengers passing through each day. Inaugurated in 1894, it is also one of the world's oldest stations. Number 20. French wines can reach astronomical prices. In 2040, Sotheby sold a 140-bottle lot of DCR Romanée-Conti wines in Hong Kong for more than 1.45 million euros to an anonymous Asia-based buyer, a world record for a single wine lot. That works out to about 1,619 euros per standard glass. Number 21. The French invented the metric system, the decimalized way of counting and weighting, in 1793. The original prototype kilo, Le Grand K, is a cylinder made in 1880s out of platinum and iridium and about the size of a plum, and was the only object known to scientists to have a mass of exactly 1 kilogram. Everything else measured in kilograms is defined by Le Grand K. It's kept locked away under 3 vacuum-sealed bell jars in a vault in the International Bureau of Weights and Measures, BIPM. Duplicate cylinders were sent around the world, and every so often they compared to the original, but Le Grand K mysteriously seemed to be losing weight. The last time it was weighted, in 1988, it was found to be 0.05 milligrams, less than a grain of sugar, lighter than the copies. Did Le Grand K lose mass or have the copies gained it? No one knows. Number 22. French gastronomy was awarded UNESCO World Heritage status in 2010. When it was added to the list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, experts described the importance of French gastronomy as a social custom aimed at celebrating the most important moments in the lives of individuals and groups, as well as emphasizing togetherness for its function of bringing friends and family closer together and strengthening social ties. Number 23. The world's greatest cycle race, the Tour de France, has been around for more than 100 years. With the first event held on 1st July 1903, every July, cyclists race some 3,200 kilometers, which is 2,000 miles, primarily around France in a series of stages over 23 days, with the fastest cyclist at each stage wearing the famous yellow jersey. Number 24. France has produced some of the world's most influential writers and thinkers, Descartes and Pascal in 17th century, Voltaire in 18th, Baudelaire and Flaubert in 19th, and Sartre and Camus in 20th. To date, France has won more Nobel Prizes for literature, 15, than any other country. Number 25. France produces nearly 1 billion tons of cheese a year in around 1,200 different varieties. In France, it's an ancient art. Goat's cheese dates back to at least 5000 AD. The blue-veined Roquefort was mentioned in records of an Asian monastery in Conquest as early as 1070, and hard-farm cheese like Emmental started to appear in the 13th century. A French proverb claims, "Un fromage par jour de l'année." There is a different cheese for every day of the year. Number 26. You might get a fish stuck on your back on April Fool's Day. If you're in France on 1st April, don't be surprised if children try to stick paper fish to your back and call you a poisson d'avril, April fish. This tradition is supposed to have started in the 16th century, where King Charles XIV of France changed the calendar, and those who continued to celebrate the end of the new year at the end of the March were ridiculous as fools. Number 27. The oldest recorded human voice is French. A 10-second fragment of the song Au cœur de la lune was recorded by French inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville on paper on 9 April 1860. He used a phonautograph, which allowed sounds to be recorded visually. The paper recording was discovered in 2008 in Paris, and using modern science, the clip was played for the very first time. Number 28. The French eat around 30,000 tons of snails a year, but only about 1,000 tons of classic French delicacy served with garlic, parsley, and butter come from France. Only some 100 registered snail farms existed in France in 2015. If you've eaten snails in France, chances are they were plucked from the fields and roadsides of Eastern Europe. Number 29. It is against the law to carry live snails on a high-speed trail in France without their own tickets. In fact, any domesticated animal under 5 kilograms must be paying passenger in France. In 2008, a Frenchman was fined when he was carrying snails on a TGV, although the fine was later waived. Number 30. Marcel Proust's À la recherche d'automnes perdus holds the record as the world's longest novel. his 13-volume masterpiece, translated as Remembrance of Things Past, is more than 3,000 pages long and has a cast of thousands and hundreds of interwoven plot strands. The first volume was published in 1930. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching Travelholic. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and share. Also, for more new, interesting videos, subscribe. Thank you.